Good morning, everyone. Today I'll go through the next chapter in the advanced guides. I'm looking at the React documentation. This is the advanced guide for optimizing performance. So if you see, they're saying this goes through how to optimize your React app. What needs to be really done to optimize your React app. They're saying internally, React uses a lot of clever techniques to minimize the number of costly DOM operations to update the UI. So basically, they employ a lot of clever techniques to minimize the number of costly DOM operations. For many applications, using React will lead to a fast user interface without doing much work to specifically optimize for performance. So it looks like for most applications, we don't have to do a lot of work. For most React applications, we don't have to do a lot of work. It will do it automatically if you use the tools provided by the React framework itself. So even then, they're saying, hey, there are several ways to speed up a React application. Use the production build. So they're saying if you're benchmarking or experiencing performance problems in your React apps, make sure you're testing with the minified production build. So they want to make sure we use a minified production build. By default, React includes many helpful warnings. Those warnings are very useful in development. However, they make React larger and slower. So you should make sure to use the production version when you deploy the app. So what they're saying is in development, React shows a lot of warnings. But if we use the development build, React, basically the application will be larger. Not only that, the application will be slower. So they're saying we need to make sure that we have to use the production version when we deploy the app. If you aren't sure whether your build process if you aren't sure if your build process is set up correctly, you can check it by installing React developer tools for Chrome. So let's see what that is. Okay, so I don't have React developer tools, so I'm going to go ahead and add this. This is a Chrome extension. Okay, I went ahead and added the Chrome extension. So if you visit a site with React in production, the icon will have a dark background. So let's see. So housing.com is one of the let's go to housing.com. It's a React app as far as I know. Let's see. So anyway, so they're saying install it. Now if I visit a React app, I don't know if you can see this. On the right side, it's saying React developer tools. I wonder this page is using the production build of React. So that's what they're saying. So if I go to a React app, it will show me if I am using the production build or not. So they're also saying if I open the developer tools, the React tab will appear to the right. So let me see. I opened the developer tools and they're saying, yeah, so I see this React tab. So if I go to the React tab, oh, it's showing a bunch of things. Looks like it's showing me all the stores that are there, I think. Anyway, I don't know what exactly this is, but once I dig into it a little deeper, I might. But anyway, so this is the React developer tool, that the React extension for developer tools, and what it shows. Basically, if I go to a React app, it's showing me if I'm using the production build or not. And not only that, it's also showing me they added a special tab. Looks like I get to see more info. I need to read up on this extension. I'll read up on this extension later. That's what it's doing. So that's what they're saying. If you visit a site with React in development mode, the icon will have a red background. So it looks like right now it has a black background. They're saying that if I visit a website that's using a development build, it will show a red background. So they're also, and then looks like this message will be shown. So it's saying that this page is using the development build of React. Yeah. So note that the development build is not suitable for production. Make sure to use the production build before deployment. Okay. It's pretty straightforward. It is expected that you use the development mode when working on your app and the production mode when deploying your app to the users. So while in development, when we are doing the development, they're saying we have to use it's better to use the development mode, obviously, because we want to put breakpoints and troubleshoot it. You can find instructions for building your app for production below. So they have instructions how to create a React app. So I open the tab here. Oh, no. So let me open. So let me go ahead and open the tab. So this is the create React app. So let's see what they have to say. So create React app. I can create a React app by doing the following, I guess. Create React apps with no build configuration. Getting started. How to create a React app. User guide. I think I'm going to quickly go through this and create a simple React app. React apps with no build configuration. Getting started. User guide. Okay. Create React app works on Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. If something doesn't work, please file an issue. Quick overview, npm install -g, create React app, okay. npm start, then open, okay. Okay, so I'm going to go through this quick overview. I will go ahead and create a React app. Let me see. So I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can change the shell background. Make this a little bigger so that our focus is only on one thing. So if you see, the first step in the quick overview is install npm install blah blah blah. So let me see what version of npm I have. Otherwise, I have to install npm itself. I have 3.10.10. So let me see. I have Node here. I have Node, which is almost the latest version, I think. So let me upgrade Node to the latest version. Let me see if I have NVM. I also have NVM, so I can so anyways, I can install the latest version. So let me see what is the latest version of Node.js. So the latest version of Node.js is v6.11.0. So I can install that. 6.11.0. So I have npm. If you don't have npm, you have to install npm. If you don't have nvm, install nvm, and then install the latest version of Node or the latest LTS version of Node. That's what I did. And then I'll close that. So then they're saying I need to install. Okay, so I need to install create app npm package called create app. Let me make this a little bigger. So the first step, they're saying, okay, do an npm install -g create react app. So let me make this a little bigger. So let me see, npm install -g create react app. It's going to install the create app, react app npm package. It installed it. So I don't know if there is any way to check, but so looks like now from this folder, I can just do a create react app, and then I'll call it my app. I'll use the same. So let's call it let's say my app is called live coding. So it went ahead and it's doing a bunch of things. So what did it do? It's creating a new React app, installing packages. This might take a couple of minutes. Installing React DOM, React scripts, yarn add v0.24.5. So I don't know what yarn. So does yarn add mean it's installing yarn itself or what? We open a yarn and see. But so yarnpackage.com. So the stable version is 0.24.6. So let me see what it was adding earlier. So when I did the create React app live coding, so basically I'm creating a app called live-coding. When I did that, it started scaffolding the app. So it did create a new React app. Okay, it's creating a new app in the current folder is called projects. So it created a new folder called live coding in the current folder. And it's installing packages. So it's trying to install React DOM, and React scripts. I think before that, it went ahead and installed yarn version 0.24.5, even though the latest version is 0.24.6. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it went ahead and installed that version to my Mac OS. And it's saying there is no log file found. I don't know what that is, but I'm guessing it maintains all the packages locally somewhere. So it's creating a log file to store what is installed and what is not installed, so that it doesn't have to go to the internet to get the package. Let's say if I'm installing, if I have 2 or 3 projects, all of them share version 1 of let's say Lodash. I'm guessing it'll go to the local cache to retrieve it instead of going to the internet to get it. Instead of going and fetching the npm package, if I have the package already available locally, it will just install it from the local cache. So resolving packages, fetching packages. So looks like it's resolving packages, fetching packages, linking dependencies, building fresh packages. So I don't know what those steps are. So I think maybe they're all related to these packages. So it's trying to find what this package is about, and it's fetching the package, and maybe it's dependencies, and building fresh packages. Yeah, I wish they showed what is being done in each of the steps. Maybe if I do a verbose option, maybe I wonder if create React app has a verbose option. Let me see. So if I do create dash React dash app, so somehow I don't know if I have to add path to where create React app is, because it's not finding it somehow. Even though it found it here, I think because I installed everything here in this folder, in this shell, it's finding create React app, but it's not finding it here. Let me go down and try to run the command here itself. Okay, so they do have a they do have help version verbose. Oh, so looks like if I run this, maybe it will dump when it's creating the React app. It'll show more stuff. So right now it is not. So anyway, so looks like if I turn on the, maybe if I do another project, I'll try to use the verbose option to see exactly what gets dumped out. But right now, let me go through and see. Let me understand what this create React app is doing. So it looks like it did a bunch of things. It's resolving packages. It's trying to basically install. I'm guessing it's trying to install all these packages and its dependencies. And then maybe it's storing all that in a log file. Or maybe this log file is local to this project. So it might say this log file might show the contents of. So let's see. If I go to okay, so there's a yarn.log file. So it looks like it put a bunch of stuff in that file. So if I try to see the contents of that file, so man, so it's saying this is an auto-generated file. Do not edit this file directly. So this is the log file that they're talking about here. I created this log file, and this log file has a lot of stuff. I think it has a bunch of packages. I think each one is a package, I think, and it's showing the version of the package and how the package was resolved, and basically it has a bunch of other package info, and the path to the package, how to get where to get the package from. So it has all the packages. Man, it didn't. It did go and install a ton of packages. Okay, so man, too many dependencies for this one. Well, anyway, all these are all the packages for a React app. Looks like all these packages are used either during development or for the production build or for both. Anyway, so there are a bunch of yarn.lock is listing all the yarn packages that were installed. And here they talk about, okay, warning, your current version of yarn is out of date. The latest version is 0.24.6, while you are on 0.24.5. So maybe I should update yarn itself. So let me see if I can update yarn. Okay, I wonder how to update it. Is there a command to update yarn? So let me look at its CLI. So yarn dash dash help. Yarn update. I wonder what that does. So saying yarn help and command. So I want to look at command update. Oh, it doesn't really tell me. It's saying this is how. Oh, these are all the options available. Huh? So let me see. Is there a way to update it here? Ah, there it is. So maybe I should go and see, look at the documentation. Open URL. So it looks like yarn upgrade is actually upgrading the packages. That's not what we want. We want to update yarn itself. So CLI introduction, add init install all, then publish, remove default command. Okay, none of these commands. I'm trying to see how to upgrade yarn while I'm on this page. Cache, check, clean, config, create, global. I wonder what that is. wonder what this self update is. Let me see. Updates yarn to the latest version. Okay, so this is what we want. So yarn self update looks like if I type that, note self update is currently not available, which means updates must be done manually. Darn. Mhm. So a bunch of things about this. So looks like I need to use a command like this. I need to use the npm command to update yarn. Hmm. So they're saying don't use npm. Okay. I don't remember how yarn was installed on this one. So I wonder if it was installed using uh, brew maybe. Does brew has any help files? Brew install formula brew list. Let me see. Brew list. Okay, so looks like it was installed using brew. So I don't know how to update it using brew. Oh, there is a brew update or brew update. I wonder what that does. Let me run brew doctor first. And it's throwing a bunch of errors. Oh, Docker related. Brew prune. Okay. Okay, so I will ignore it. So I'll just try to do a brew update and see what happens. Wonder what upgrade means. So let's see what brew upgrade. Upgrade outdated unpinned brews. Optional for install command are valid here. Okay. I'll just do brew update and see. Brew update. Okay, so basically this is saying that I don't have permissions because this was created using a different user. Okay. Let me see if brew update will work. Okay. Yeah. It's complaining about this also. So I'm going to run this command also. Okay. Fix permissions. I thought I just ran this command. I'm sure it'll complain about me not have permissions to the yarn folder. So let's see what happens. It's doing something. I don't see any progress. I don't know what's happening. Okay, yeah, this is what I thought. Oh, so it did something. Let me see. So brew update. So it's saying it updated 2 tabs. Class new formula. So I'm trying to see if there is anything about yarn. So updated formula. So I think it should be here in this section somewhere. Let's see if yarn is here somewhere. Yep. Yank is there, but not yarn. Hmm. Let me see if I can figure out what the version is. It's still 0.2.24.5. Let me do this also, just to be on the safe side. So I'll run that. Already up to date. Somehow it didn't install anything to do with yarn. I wonder if I do brew install yarn, will it install it? It's already installed. Brew update yarn. Okay. Brew update yarn. Okay, this command updates brew itself and does not take formula names. What? Oh, upgrade. Okay, so I'm supposed to type brew upgrade yarn. Okay, so it's doing something. Okay, so looks like it upgraded yarn to 0.2.6, or at least it's supposed to. It's showing me the latest stable version. So that's good. So I don't have to worry about this. Okay, basically I have the right version of yarn. So coming back to this step, so basically I fixed this step, whatever the problem with this step is. The next one is, I think it's showing all the dependencies, that there were 878 dependencies for this project. So all those packages were installed, all the 878 package npm packages have been installed, or in this case yarn packages have been installed. I will not go through all of them because there are too many of them. And then it says done. It took 46 seconds. And then it's saying success, created live loading at. Okay, so basically it's saying, hey, it created that live coding project. Inside that directory, you can run several commands. Yarn start. So if I do yarn start, it starts the development server. Yarn build bundles the app into static files for production. I won't do this yet. Yarn test starts the test runner. Yarn eject removes this tool and copies build dependencies and scripts into the app directory. If you do this, you can't go back. We suggest that you begin by typing change directory to live coding and yarn start. Okay, so let me do this. So coming back here, let me make this a little bigger. So okay, I'm already in the live coding folder. So if I do a yarn start, it should start a server. Okay, it started it. It's taking quite a while. Okay. So anyway, I started React app in the development mode. Because I started it in the development mode, I don't know if you can see, I see React developer tools here. When I click on it, as you can see, the background is red. That means I am in the development mode. And basically they're saying, hey, it's not suitable for production, which I kind of know. Great. That's my React app. And let me go back. Let me go back to the commands. So we did the quick overview. Oh, I can do an npm start also, huh? So, but here they're recommending yarn start instead of npm start. So anyway, I did the yarn start because I think Facebook is moving from npm to yarn because it provides, anyway, as one of the document was saying, it provides a lot of benefits like security. Basically, your packages cannot be hacked, and anyway, it does a checksum when it downloads a package, so you get the right files, a lot of ways, and it yarn caches everything locally, so it doesn't have to go and get it from the internet each and every time. So the build process will be much faster. That's what their claims are. Anyway, I will research that a little later. And so then open this to see your app. When you're ready, deploy to production. Create a minified bundle, npm run bundle. So you're saying even though the GitHub project size says npm run build, if you look at the documentation that's coming out of the Create React app. They're saying use yarn build to build the app. But I don't know how. Okay, I don't know what happens when we do a yarn build, but anyway. So I won't run the build yet, or maybe let me see if I should run the build. So getting started immediately. If you don't need to install or configure tools like Webpack or Babel, they are pre-configured and hidden so that you can focus on the code. Just create a project and you're good to go. So we did this already. So we created a project. I wonder if this should be also done using Yarn, the Create React app. Maybe I should do a Yarn add Create React app or something. Anyway, as we go, I'm sure we'll know about it. So they're saying I need npm, I need node greater than 6. I already have node greater than 6. I think they're saying use nvm, which I do already. This tool doesn't assume a node backend. The node installation is only required for create app itself. So we use node as a server to serve the create React app itself. So basically we are running a node to serve the files, to serve the static files. They're saying this is how I create an app. It will create a directory called my app inside the current folder. Okay, this we already did that. No configuration or complicated folder structures, just the files you need to build your app. Okay, so if I look at the folder structure, they have node modules. I'm guessing, yeah. Anyway, we'll get into it. Oh, node modules have all the dependencies that are needed for the project, I guess. Package, yeah, package.json will list all the packages needed for this project. Git ignore is nothing but it'll have a bunch of git ignore commands that anything like node modules will not be pushed. You don't need to push these to the server. So I'm guessing git ignore will have stuff like that. Let me check and see. So if I say ls minus al, yeah, the structure is similar. If I want to look at what is inside git ignore, git ignore is ignoring node modules, coverage, a folder called coverage, but I don't see the folder called coverage yet, and a folder called build, and a bunch of other stuff. So I did yarn start, and I'm running the server in development mode. This page will reload if you make edits. Okay. So if I make any kind of edits, this page will reload, it seems. So let's see if I should make any page changes. So if I go to src, src has all these files. So let me look at what is in app.js. App.js has a bunch of, yeah, so it's nothing but a React component. Okay. It has the logo. It says welcome to React, and then it has some app intro. So let me see if I can edit it. I'll go ahead and say welcome to React. I'll say instead of that. Let's say as soon as I save it, I understood correctly. Okay. So if you see whatever I typed showed up here. So they're saying, so basically there might be a process like nodemon that is continuously monitoring, that's looking at all the files that changed, and it immediately refreshes as soon as your file changes. That's what is happening here. So I can test it by running yarn test, so which we know. So let's see yarn test. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. So let me run yarn test again. So if I go to the, I went back to the root folder and ran yarn test, and looks like it went through and renders without crashing. Test suites all passed. It took 2 seconds to run all the tests. Press P to filter by file name, regular expression, T. Okay. So if I hit enter, okay. Okay. So I think more about testing. I'm sure there is, if I go here, there will be more about testing. I will skip that right now. npm run build yarn build. Okay, so let's go and see. I entered Q to get out of the test mode. So if I do yarn build, so it did the build. So it put everything, if you see, so it's creating an optimized production build. It compiled successfully. File sizes after gzip. Okay, it's this big, and all the CSS is 289 bytes. This project was built assuming it is hosted at the server root. To override this, specify the home page in your package.json. So for example, add this to the GitHub pages, home page. Okay. The build folder is ready to be deployed. You may serve it with a static server. So I already have this, I think, but let me go ahead and add it. So looks like I don't have it. So it's going ahead and adding a yarn package called serve globally. So it went ahead and added a yarn package called serve globally. And then, so now if I see, I should have a build folder. So there is a build folder. So if I run serve -s build, it will serve the contents from build. But let me see what is inside of build. Build has a bunch of files, so it has index.html. So it looks like this will be the entry point. So let me do that. I want to serve -s. I don't know what -s is. So let me look at the help for serve. What does -s mean? -s is single. So basically, I'm serving a single page app. Serve -s. I'm serving a single page app from the build folder. Okay. Okay. So I think it's hosted on port 5000. So let me go ahead and open this and see. Okay. So now this is the production build. I think on port 3000, we are hosting the development build. On port 5000, we are hosting the production build. If you see for the production build, the React extension icon is showing that I'm using the production build. If I go here, it's showing a red background for the React Developer Tool extension. Here it's saying that I'm using the development build. So again, red background for the icon and a black background. Black means I'm using the production build. Red means I'm using the development build. Anyway, that's yarn build. The build is minified and file names include the hashes. Okay. So basically, the file name include hashes because whenever your files change, you want to flush the cache. So this is one way to force the browser to use a new file. So by default, it also includes a service worker. Okay, so looks like it includes a service worker. So the app loads from local cache on future visits. Your app is ready to be deployed. Okay, so it looks like the app is ready to be deployed. So I can deploy the app. As this guy was saying, I mean, I should be able to deploy the app. Was built. The project was built assuming it is hosted on a server root. So I can deploy it to GitHub pages using something like this. Okay. I need to test this out and see. So they have a user guide, updating to new releases, folder structure, available scraps, syntax highlighting in an editor, code splitting. Wow. Okay, so I won't go into the this user guide yet. I don't want to digress too much from the performance part of it. So basically, if I look at the performance part of it, I created a React app. This part of it is done. Single file builds. We offer production ready versions of React and React DOM as single files. I do not know. I wonder if index. Let me close this. Sorry. So if I go to the build folder, and let's say I want to open index file, index.html file. I'm trying to understand where I would use something like this, because these are installed as packages already. So if I go and type, if I check package.json, I look at package.json, I see these two dependencies, React and React DOM here. So if I go to src, src has index.js. Okay. I do not understand where I would use these or how I would use these two scripts. Anyway, so I'll skip that section. Branch. For the most efficient branch production build, install Uglify.js branch plugin. Okay. Okay. So looks like they're saying if I use something like this, if I install this, I do a yarn add dev. So I'm adding a, so let me see if the yarn.log file already has this, or node modules, the node modules folder already has this. So if I do change directory to node underscore modules, do a ls. So he's saying uglify, 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 uglify.js, uglify to browserify. Those are the only two packages available. So if I go ahead and add this package called Uglify.js branch, and then if I do ls node modules, and then if I grep for branch, yep. Now the Uglify.js branch is there. Now if I do a branch build -p, looks like branch build is not found. Okay, so let me see. I'm supposed to prefix it with a yarn or what? Yarn branch build -p. Anyway, I don't know why this is not working. Branch build minus P. Let me see why this is not working. So if I go and I do not know why it's not working. Hmm. Anyway, so this one I have to research it some more why this branch build minus P is not working. So Browserify, for the most efficient Browserify production build, install a few plugins. For the most efficient Browserify production builds, install a few plugins. So I'm saying install these plugins. Okay, these are all plugins that are used during development, because we are saying yarn dev. This one says that they are all only used during development, so these won't be packaged into the production build. I need to look at what each one is, but I will go through this and see first. So to create a production build, make sure that you add these transforms. The order matters. Okay. I wonder if yarn build is using yarn build command that we used. Is it using some kind of config to build it, or okay? So let's see. I look at package.json. So build React scripts build. Wonder if I need to update this package.json. Is it supposed to do something like that? Oops. It's supposed to do something like that. And I pass it flags after that. Hmm. Hmm. So looks like React scripts was building it earlier. And we have this Uglify.js branch also. I wonder what kind of executable that is providing. So if I go to Node modules, I should see. Okay. I think I've spent enough time. I don't understand what this is or where these optimizations are supposed to happen. So to create a production build, make sure that you add these transforms. The order matters, but I don't know where to add these things because I'm using React scripts. I'm hoping React scripts does all these things already. So these plugins are saying I need to apply it for production builds only, which I understand. But the production build is hidden within React scripts, and I'm using React scripts to do my build. So this is, I'm guessing this might be for a custom build. For the most efficient roll-up production build, install a few plugins. So they're saying add more plugins for the most efficient roll-up production build. I'm going to go ahead and install this. So I went ahead and installed that. To create a production build, make sure that you add these plugins. The order matters. Okay, but where do I add this? Oh, for a complete setup example, see the gist. Okay, so okay. So I'll take a look at this performance enhancements later. That you only need to do this for production builds. Okay, Webpack. If you are using Create React App, please follow the instructions above. So they're saying just follow the instructions above if I'm using Create React App. This section is only relevant if you configure Webpack directly. So I'm not creating Webpack directly, so looks like I can skip it for now at least. Profiling components with Chrome timeline. In the development mode, you can visualize how components mount, update, and unmount using the performance tools in supported browsers, for example. Okay, so let me take a look at that. I'm going to start the production server in development mode. Okay, so in development mode, I have a dev server already open and it's serving files. So in development mode, you can visualize how components mount, update, and unmount using the performance tools in supported browsers. For example, to do this in Chrome, load the app with React Perf. Okay, so looks like if I put a React underscore perf, open the Chrome DevTools timeline. So I'll open the Chrome DevTools timeline. Is it in the performance area? I'm using the latest Chrome, so I wonder if they added or removed some tabs. Memory, application, audits, security, okay, performance. So I will open this. Okay, open this and then see. So it did something, but I don't know if this is what I want. So this is showing the network related stuff. But I want to see a view like this. Open the Chrome DevTools timeline tab and press record. Okay. And then do I refresh or Let me go here and do the same thing. Click the record button and hit Command E to start recording. Okay. Perform the actions you want to profile. Okay. Stop recording. React events will be grouped under user timing label. Audits. Let me open another browser. I'll open Google Chrome Standard. I think looks like this one does not have a. This is a Google Standard browser, so I'm going to try the same thing in a Google Standard browser and see if I can see the timeline. So I go here, paste and go. I might have to install the extension again. Install the React Developer Tool extension. Okay. Okay, so it's showing that it's a dev server. Now let me open developer tools. So I'm going to go to the developer tools and then, okay. In development mode, you can visualize how components mount. Okay, React. I don't know which tab they're talking about. The timeline. Is the timeline in the network? Is it in performance? Okay, the JavaScript CPU profiler will be removed shortly. More tools. I don't see more tools. Is this more tools section or what? Okay. Okay. This is what the timeline is talking about. Okay. Okay. So anyway, it shows a bunch of things. Perform actions that you want to profile. Stop recording React. It'll be grouped under user timing label. User timing label. Okay. I went to user timing. I expanded that. So if I drill down into it, it's showing, I think bundle.js is a, yeah, I'm guessing bundle.js is nothing but the bundled JavaScript code, the React bundle JavaScript code. So it's taking all the way from 3 seconds all the way till, whoa, 3.8 seconds. Okay. It's showing a bunch of other transformations here. What components are getting mounted and stuff like that. Okay, so note that the numbers are relative, so components will render faster in production. Still, this should help you realize when unrelated UI gets updated by mistake, and how deep and how often your UI updates occur. So this shows. Okay. Currently, Chrome, Edge, and IE are the only browsers supporting this feature, but but we use standard user timing API, so we expect more browsers to add support for it. The next section is about avoiding reconciliation. React builds and maintains an internal representation of the rendered UI. It includes React elements you return from your components. So this representation lets React avoid creating DOM nodes and accessing existing ones beyond necessity, as that can be slower than operations on JavaScript objects. Okay. What they're saying is the React avoids creating DOM nodes and accessing existing ones beyond necessity. They're saying that whenever we do that, it will be slower than operations on JavaScript objects. So because they have a virtual representation of the DOM, so sometimes that's referred to virtual DOM. They're also saying it works the same way on React Native. Also, when a component's prop or state change, when a component's properties or state change, React decides whether an actual DOM update is necessary by comparing the newly returned element with the previously rendered one. When a component's properties or state change, React decides whether an actual DOM update is necessary by comparing the newly returned element with the previously rendered one. So because it maintains a virtual DOM, so whenever a state or a property changes, it compares it. It compares if the DOM needs to change, and a change is only made if a DOM needs real changes. In some cases, your component can speed all of this up by overriding the lifecycle function should component update, which is triggered before the re-rendering process starts. The default implementation of this function returns true, leaving React to perform the update. So what they're saying is we can always by default, so the lifecycle method called should component update within React by default returns true, basically saying that, hey, go ahead and update the component. But if we know that a particular component doesn't need to be updated, we can always return false. I don't know what we'll base this on. Maybe if the DOM is hidden, if it is in the background, maybe we don't need to update the DOM at that point. Only when it comes forward is when we trigger, when we let React repaint the DOM. Otherwise, there is no need to update the DOM. So if you know that in some situations your component doesn't need to update, you can return false. That's what they're saying. So if a component doesn't need to be updated, we return false. So if we return false, so it will skip the whole rendering process, including calling the render function on this component. So they're showing a subtree of components below. For each, I think SCU stands for should component update. Oh, anyway, that's what they're saying. For each SCU indicates what should component update return. And VDOM equals, so virtual DOM equals indicates whether rendered React elements were equivalent. Finally, the circle's color indicates whether the component had to be reconciled or not. So they have, if it is in red, so looks like reconciliation is needed. I don't know who determines that. If it is green, then no reconciliation is required. I'm guessing reconciliation will be required only if the virtual DOM state and the DOM that's provisioned are different. I'm guessing that is when reconciliation is needed. Otherwise, no reconciliation is needed. Since should component update return false for the subtree rooted at C2, React did not attempt to render C2, and thus, so it's saying since should component update here return false, basically if it's should component if SCU is false, then irrespective of what no reconciliation, if reconciliation is needed or not, irrespective of that, React will not attempt to re-render C2, and thus didn't even invoke, and it did not even invoke should component update on C4 and C5. Okay, and similarly, they're saying for C1 and C3. So for C1 and C3, so looks like should component update is actually for C1 and C3, should component update is actually true. That means we are saying, hey, update the component, and virtual DOM equals. So basically, virtual DOM equals is saying that the DOM is not equal. Basically, if it's in red, I'm guessing the virtual DOMs are not equal. So that means reconciliation is needed. So for both C1 and in C3, reconciliation is needed. That's the reason they're highlighted in red. And if we go further, like C7 and C8, for both of them, I think for C7, SCU is red. That means should component update is false. So C7, nothing will be done to C7. So no reconciliation will be needed. And same thing with S8. Even though we are saying for C8, even though we are saying should component update is returning true, but the virtual DOMs are equal. So there is no reason for us to update the DOM, because the virtual DOM is equivalent to whatever is provisioned out there. Whatever is rendered to the browser. Whatever is rendered to the browser is the same as what is in the virtual DOM. So nothing will be done there either. Only for C6, for C6, SCU is true. So should component update is true. And the virtual DOM is not equal to what is rendered in the browser. So for C6, we are saying, hey, go ahead and update the C6 node. I'm guessing that's what they're saying here. For C1 and C3, should component update return true? So React had to go down to the leaves and check them. So React went to the leaves. For C6, should component update return true? So they're saying for C6, React saw that lifecycle method return true. Since the rendered elements weren't equivalent React, since the rendered elements weren't equivalent React, had to update the DOM. So basically, they're saying the rendered elements are not equal, so React had to update the DOM. The last interesting case is C8. React had to render this component, but since the React element it returned were equal to the previously rendered ones, it didn't have to update the DOM. Yep, understood. Note that React only had to do DOM mutations for C6. It only updated C6, which was inevitable. But for C8, it bailed out by comparing the rendered rendered React elements. And for C2 subtree and C7, it didn't even have to compare the elements, as we bailed out on should component update, and render was not called. Okay, examples. If the only way your component ever changes is when props.color or state.count variable changes, you could have should component update check that. So in this case, looks like if our component changes only if either a color property or state count property changes, then we can check inside should component update, we can check and make sure it returns true only if one of these properties changes. Otherwise, we return false. So basically, render won't even get called if either either the color property or the count state doesn't change. Okay. I'll go ahead and minimize these things to reduce confusion. So in this code, should component is just checking if there is any change in color or count. Here, if you see, it's checking if color or state changed. If either color or state changed, then we are returning true. Otherwise, we are returning false. Basically saying, hey, don't render it. So it looks like this pattern is pretty common. So React provides a helper to use this logic. So if we just inherit from react.pure component, so here they're saying, okay, just inherit from react.pure component. If we inherit from react.pure component, here we inherited from react.component. They're saying instead of inheriting from react.component, if we inherit from react.pure component, the same thing. So they're saying if so we can do this, and React will take care of writing, checking the property if properties are state changed, and it will call should component update itself if we extend our element from pure component instead of component. But the only problem here is if you have it will not do a shallow, it does a shallow comparison, it will not do a deep comparison. So it will only look at the top level object. So there might be problems with that, is what they're saying. So they're showing how a problem like this can be solved. So let's say your state has a complex object instead of a one level object. Maybe it has an object, and within an object it has another object. Same thing with your properties. If your properties have sub properties, then obviously this will not work. I think they're showing how to fix it if your data structure is complex. So the code below they're saying it will not work. So they have a React component called list of words uh, that's derived from the pure component, and basically they're going to show a list of words from an array called words, comma separated. So class word adder. So they have a word adder class that adds classes to a word array whenever someone clicks on a button, I'm guessing. Yeah, so there's a button. So whenever the button is clicked, okay. So what they're saying is this won't be rendered properly. They're saying this won't be rendered properly because we are doing a simple comparison. So this dot props dot words never changes. Only the contents inside of it change, but the address location itself doesn't change for words, is what they're saying. So because the words is not changing, this never gets updated, is what they're saying. So we will not see, even though the user is clicking on the button, we will not see the results. Since this code mutates the words array in the handle click method of word adder, the only new values of this .props.words will compare as equal, even though the actual words in the array have changed. The list words will thus not update, even though it has new words and should be rendered. Okay, understood. The power of not mutating data. The simplest way to avoid this problem is to avoid mutating values that you're using as props or state. For example, the handle click method above could be written using concat as. Okay. So basically, whenever we are stating, whenever so whenever so basically this is creating a brand new words. So brand new state, brand new object. So concat, if I look at concat returns a new array each and every time, I think. So let's see. So concat method is used to merge two or more arrays. This method does not change the existing arrays, but instead returns a new array. So so that's how, because it's returning a new array, we are assigning a new array to words each and every time. So because we are mutating words each and every time, looks like the changes will show up. And ES6 supports a spread syntax for arrays, which can make this easier. If you're using Create React app, this syntax is available by default. So yeah, they are also saying we could use the spread syntax. Spread syntax. So if you use spread like ... and the array, it will basically expand the array here, and then we are adding one additional item to the array. So you put a comma and use whatever you're adding. So basically this also creates a new array, and we are assigning the new array to it. So if you look at the set state in handle click, here we are just pushing into the existing array. And here we are creating a brand new array each and every time. So here you can also rewrite code that mutates objects to avoid mutation in a similar way. For example, let's say we have an object named color map, and we want to write a function that changes color map.write to be blue. We could write color map.write equals blue. So they're saying you can also rewrite code that mutates objects to avoid mutation. Also rewrite code that mutates objects to avoid mutation in a similar way. For example, let's say we have an object named color map. Write a function that changes color map.write to be blue. Okay. So they're saying if we don't want to mutate uh, an object, so so if we So they're saying, let's say we have an object called color map and we want to write a function that changes color map.write to blue. We could write this. So it's mutating the write property of an object called color map. But I don't think color map itself will change, right? So let me test this out. Oops. So actually I can go to this console and then they're saying, let's say I'll copy this function. So we created a function. We created a function called update color map. Now let's say I create a variable called color map. And let's say it has property called write and which is red. Okay, so if I type color map, it's showing red. Okay, so now I'll call update color map and I'll pass in color map. Now if I type color map, showing blue. So I should have assigned it to something else, huh? Okay. So let me see. Let's say let color map 2 equals update color map. Oops. Update color map. And I'll pass it color map. Okay. It's not defined. What? Okay. So now if I look at color map 2, what? Undefined. Update color map, color map. What is color map? Oh, basically this is not returning anything. Okay. So it mutated the property called write. Let's look at this other method and see how that behaves. So we'll call this update color map 2. Now I'll define another variable called color map 2, and then I'll set write to red. So when I do that, uncaught has already been declared. Okay, it's already been declared. Let me call this 3. Okay, so now if I type color map 3, it's saying it's red. So now, oh, this one is returning an object, right? So now let's say let color map 3 equals update color map 2, and then I'll pass in color map 3 to it. Okay, what is CM3? So color map 3 is saying, yeah, basically the return value changed to blue, And what would be color map 3? Color map 3, still red. Okay. So if I want to update color map but return a new object, then I could use assign is what they're saying. Okay. Basically, the original object will not be touched, but we can create a new object. Object assign does not mutate the original object if we use object assign, is what they're saying. You can use object assign to create an object without mutating the original object. Okay. So looks like there is a spread operator also. Object spread operator. So looks like there is a proposal. It is a stage 3 proposal. Wow. So looks like most of them already accepted the proposal, but for now, oh, ES6, I think object assign is not supported across the board, it seems. So let me see who doesn't support it yet. Object.assign, can I use? Okay, so looks like Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, all of them support it. At least the main ones. Okay. So I don't know why it requires a polyfill. At least the majority of the browsers support it. And looks like this object spread also will. Let's see if I can use. Spread syntax. Okay, object spread redux. Whoa. No, object spread. So, okay. Not a good idea to use it then. Okay. Okay. Object spread. Oh, this is Node.js. Okay. Anyway, it's not ready, I guess. JavaScript program make it easier to update objects without mutation. Okay, if you're using Create React app, both object assign and object spread syntax are available by default. Oh, okay. So I could use this also, is what they're saying. Okay, awesome. Using immutable data structures. Using immutable data structures. Immutable.js is another way to solve this problem. It provides immutable, persistent collections that work via structural sharing. Immutable once created. A collection cannot be altered at any point in time. Persistent. New collections can be created from a previous collection. And a mutation such as set. The original collection is still valid after the new collection is created. Structural sharing. New collections are created using as much of the same structure as the original collection as possible, reducing copying to a minimum to improve performance. Immutability makes tracking changes cheap. A change will always result in a new object. So we only need to check if the reference to the object has changed. For example, in this regular JavaScript code, so they assigned x a variable, y a variable, x.foo is bas, x equals y is true. Although y was edited, since it's a reference to the same object as x, this comparison returns true. You can write similar code with immutable.js. Immutable record, new sum record. Y gets x.setFoo bas. Okay, false. So in this case, since a new reference is returned when mutating x, we can safely assume that x has changed. Two other libraries that help use immutable data are Seamless Immutable and Immutability Helper. Immutable data structures provide you with a cheap way to track changes on objects, which is all we need to implement should component update. This can often provide you with a nice performance boost. Okay. So at least in this section. So if we use pure component, instead of if you use pure component, it will track changes for both props and for both props, properties, and state, but it will not do a shallow compare. So the DOM won't be updated even if the content changes. To get around the problem, we have to make properties and state mutable. So if the change, so to make them mutable, we either use object assign or the spread operator, both for arrays and objects. We can also use immutable JS to solve this problem also. Okay. Okay, this is immutable JS. Okay, this is from Facebook again. Okay, so they want you to use immutable. I'm just going through the documentation for immutable.js to see how they use it. They have read the docs and eat your vegetables. Okay. I wonder if Facebook itself uses this extensively. Oh, looks like 9 days ago. So it looks like this is used heavily. Okay. Let me see if it's actually installed along with the Create React app. Check node modules. Oops. And then I look for, what is it? Immutable. Nah. So it's not installed by default. I don't know why they didn't put it as a good practice. Anyway, so in the next chapter, we'll go through React without ES6. I think we'll go through it really fast, and then React without JSX also. I don't think we'll be using these two. At least I won't be using these two often. And there are a bunch of other good stuff. There are other good articles. Anyway, I'll try to wrap up these videos today. Thank you for whoever is attending, and we'll talk about React without ES6 next.